让我看你们的漂亮的脸。很好。
老师好。
你点这个，点这个，点一下。
所以我现在要给你看一个视频，在这边。
不是，先共享啊，我来给你操作。
好。If you analyze the top 10,000 most common traditional characters and you find a yo, except for one case, it will always be derived from a right hand. I will talk about that character at the end of the video. When they simplified the traditional characters, they made a huge mess. As follows. Guan is a phonetic in many characters. It is simplified to yo in these characters. It is not simplified in these characters. Just ponder these characters for 30 seconds. Jin is a phonetic in many characters. It is simplified to yo in these characters. It is not simplified in these characters. Just ponder these characters for another 30 seconds. These characters all have components which are simplified to yo. In all other cases, the same components are not simplified to yo. Just ponder these characters for 30 seconds. These characters are always simplified to yo. Just ponder these characters for another 30 seconds. Deng is a common phonetic which may be simplified in 3 different ways, but in most cases it is not simplified at all. Deng is simplified to yo. Feng is also simplified to yo. Now I wish to talk about a couple of special cases which are of particular interest. There is a simplification rule B031, fa. It results in 2 totally different characters being reduced to 1 mutation. Here we discuss ba, and the simplification ba means to pull. It comes from quan, a dog. You can see it if you look carefully. There is an extra stroke, pie. This represents the dog that is leashed. If you have ever had a dog, you know how they pull on a leash. This character is very rare, but it is a component in several other characters. The modern meaning of this character is ba. Just ponder these characters for 30 seconds. When we unified Chinese characters into Unicode, we had some difficulty. There were some characters, like this one, where they were so close that we said they were the same character. And we gave them 1 code point. If we wanted to make them look different, we had to depend on a different font. Simsun is the standard font for simplified characters. Min Li Yu is the standard font for traditional characters. Ba is Simsun font and Ba is Min Li Yu font. Ba means to pull up or to pull out. It comes from the hand radical shou on the left and the related phonetic ba on the right. The ba means to pull, so it is more than just a phonetic. In fact, it is the original meaning of the character ba, and the hand radical was added just to make it clear. Biao indicates long hair, Kangxi radical 190, from long hair jiang and remnant shan, which indicates hair. Fa is a common traditional character for hair, from biao and the phonetic dog on a leash, ba. It is subject to the simplification rule B031, you see here, creating the new character fa. Note carefully the difference between ba and fa. Fa means to shoot, and by extension, to go forward or to develop. Originally, bo, feet, going forward, and a hand shooting an arrow from a bow. It originally meant to shoot an arrow. It comes from a bow, gong, and related phonetic to move forward or to trample on, ba. It has a ridiculous simplification rule B031, fa. It creates a new character, fa. Ba means to trample, from hand action, shu, and 2 feet going forward, bo. The Shouwen says this is the phonetic. Ponder these characters for a minute. Finally, the only character I found in 10,000 traditional characters where yo is not derived from the right hand is zhou, which means a seam, as in when we sew 2 pieces of cloth together. It looks like it should be derived from 4 yo, but it is actually derived from a pictograph representing a seam. Zhui means to sew together, from single thread, mi, and related phonetic, seam, zhou. It is a common traditional character derived from zhou. Zhui lian means to concatenate. So, 你看的那个视频，你们都很明白吗？我是不明白。你会不会介绍给别人？好，我准备。你们都有你的手机吗？你可以看那个，我可以一个字，发一个字给你们看。我要说的这个什么字？所以你们都会看那个图形吗？所以你可以看上面有2个角，一个右角，一个左角，然后下面有一个弓，然后一个手，然后那个手是射一个箭，这个是说往前走，所以我们可以说发箭，这是 to shoot an arrow， 发箭 shoot an arrow， 或是我们可以说发财 to develop wealth， 所以广东人他们会说恭喜发财，所以发财就是发财。这个是一个理想的图形，在家国我们找不到那么清楚的一个图形，可是我特别写这个图形是给你们看那个原来的逻辑，有没有问题？
是说让他们打开摄像头
啊？
打开摄像头，打开视频，打开视频。
我怎么打开视频？
你让学生们打开视频。
他们会打开视频吗？
你看他们只开了一个，让他们打开视频。
对，打开你们的视频，所以我可以看你的脸。 如果我看不到你的脸，你大概不存在，说不定你是在后面做什么其他的事。所以我现在给你一个第二个图形。你看这个图形，这个是甲骨文的样子。这个是甲骨文的样子。下面你可以看那个两个角，然后那个蓝色的是两个角往前走，绿色的是一个弓，然后你可以看一个有，然后一个公主，那个是一个铺，那个是一个树。你在古代的字，你可以常常看这样子，对，
你可以这样给他们讲。
哦，所以你可以看你的朋友圈。如果你看你的朋友圈，你可以在这边看。如果你也可以在这边看。如果你不看你的朋友圈，我在这边给你看。
摄像头在这里，摄像头在这里。
好，对，所以我给你看原来的，有没有原来的？没有。
没有，就是这
哦
个。
所以你可以看上面有两个角，这个是甲骨文的角，右边有一个手，他拿了一个公主，这个是书，然后这个是代表一个动作，一个动词，绿色的是一个弓，所以它还是射一个箭。So it's a picture of a hand shooting an arrow, and the arrow is going forward. 发财，发箭。
看的时候，你用英文再多解释一点。
So in Chinese New Year's, well, this character can mean to shoot forward, like shi jian means to shoot an arrow. But it can also mean development. Fa cai means to develop wealth. And in Chinese New Year's, they say Gong Xi Fa Cai. It means congratulations and may you get rich. In Cantonese, they say Gong Hei Fa Choi. Fa Choi is the same as Fa Cai in Cantonese. So you can see the logic here. I'll send you the next development.
你还没发送，
我
这个地方还没发送，sent 啊。
你打开你们的朋友圈，你的
对，我可以看。
OK，所以这个是一个转体字。This is a seal character。你可以看上面，你可能看不清楚是两个角，可是绿色的，他们，这个转体字，如果你不知道是什么东西，你可能不知道是两个角。可是如果你知道它的来源，你可以看，你可以学习，你可以看它的大拇指，两个大拇指往前走，两个脚往前走。绿色的是一个弓，然后那个有一个手，然后一个树，上面的那个东西也叫树，也读书，连在一起的也读书。So if you see this hand and a shoe on top, it always indicates that the character is a verb. So you see a hand shooting an arrow. Well, you don't see the arrow, but you see the bow. And And the arrow is going forward. The feet on top indicate that something is either progressing or going forward.下一个字形是现代的繁体字，这个是一个繁体字。有的时候在上面你可以看那个蓝色的那个符号，那个符号读不。如果有那个符号，你可以知道这个字是说一个字是往前走。那如果你可以看我的屏幕，或是你可以看朋友圈，我刚刚给了你这个图形。那个绿色的是一个弓，然后那个右手跟那个竖，这个是代表一个动作。I especially want to talk about this character because it had a yo in it. And if you don't know all the parts, you can't figure out what it has to do with a right hand. So this is the 繁体字。这个是一个异体字，异体字是 variant. We have many variants. We have common 繁体字. We have common traditional characters, but each character can have many variants. And this is a simplified form of, slightly simplified form of the common traditional character. So you can see that there's no longer you can't see the tool he has in his hand.
A question.
Question, yeah.
If parts of character disappear, did they know which character it represents? Or they go to blind memorization again?
Well, Chinese have been in blind memorization for thousands of years. Even the seal characters, most Chinese did not understand. The seal characters 2,000 years ago, most Chinese were still blindly memorizing almost all of them. It was easier to understand 2,000 years ago, but in recent years, even if you do traditional Chinese, most Chinese are blindly memorizing. So by the time you get here, you are blindly memorizing it.
Okay.
Unless somebody explains it to you. Now there's another simplified character, another variant, 这是另外一个异体字，异体字这是 variant， 这个很少看到，可是要简化汉字的人，他们都知道这个异体字。上面的蓝色的，你可以看那个脚往前走，下面是一个手，设了一个剑，那个绿色的是一个剑，一个弓。 So the feet on top and a hand shooting the arrow from a bow. Finally, we get to the simplified character. 上面的两个角变成一横两点，那个弓就是变成一个线，然后右手还存在。So every part of every character ultimately comes from pictograph. If you know the original pictograph and the original logic, you can understand the logic of the character. 我要你注意这个字上面的蓝色的地方，它上面有两个蓝色的点，因为下一步我要给你另外一个字，给你看另外一个字，它有一点点的分别。So this is fa jian. It's also tofa the fa. Tofa means hair. But this has nothing to do with hair. Well, it has a little bit to do with hair.我刚刚说给你这个读吧，这个是一个转体字。你记得下个星期我们学了圈，圈是一只狗，蓝色的这是一只圈，下面是有一片，多一片，红色的是一片，红色的是一个线字。把那个狗绑起来。This is not the most ancient character for dog. We studied it last week. We studied the word for dog last week. This is the character 2,000 years ago. John Tietze, it's a seal character. The blue part is the dog, Chen, and the red part is the leash on the dog. So this character, you can see the 蓝色的就是圈，我们上个星期我们学了这个字圈，这个你可以看清楚，蓝色的是一个圈，一个圈字，然后多一个很大的一个红色的一片，这个是繁体字，这个是繁体字的吧，你可以看这个跟发，头发的发，那个发间的发，发财的发很像，可是不一样。最后，这个是八，你可以看这个跟发很像，差不多一样。可是你记得我告诉你那个发上面有两个点，这个上面只有一个点。This is almost the same as fa菜的发简体字. It's almost the same as the simplified form of fa tsai to fa, but it only has one dot on top. Another difference is that you see the thing that looks like a yo shou de yo, you see the thing that looks like a right hand? It's actually two pieces. One piece is from the dog, and the other piece is from the leash. 你可以看这个不是一个右手的右。如果你看简体字，如果不是彩色的，如果不是彩色的，你可能以为这个是一个右手的右。所以2个星期以前，有一个朋友，有一个学生问我，这个右手的右跟这个八有什么关系？这个没有关系，这个是一个，我说是一个恶变。So sometimes you see something and it looks like something, but it's actually a distortion. I call it a remnant. So you see something that looks like a right hand, but it's actually from something else. So the traditional character, people ask me, what does it have to do with hand? What does ba have to do with the hand? Nothing. Because the yo you see here is actually part of the leash and part of the dog. So 这个跟发很像，可是有一个缺点，有一个分别，只有一个点。哎呀，我没有准备
啊，那是哪个？
啊，我等一会儿。
我来给你找。
呃，
你要等到哪
头
个？
发的发
啊，我来给你找。
好。
视频怎么找？你先问一下他们有什么问题啊？
有没有人有问题 ？Anybody have any questions? Anybody? Okay, during the during the video, I told you that to see the traditional character, you had to use one font, and to see the simplified character, you had to use another font.
你要哪个？这个吗？
头发的发，原来的这个。
这个吗？
对，
这张图可以吗？
这个可以。
右边的那个。
We're trying to get it.
这个。
Yeah.
好，我们共享屏幕。
所以你可以看这个，你可以详详细细的看这些字。头发的发，在右边是头发的发，可是它的下面有一个东西，好像是一个发财的发，可是它上面只有一个点。你看左边的是简体字的发财的发，它有2个点。头发的发，那个右边的字的下面有一个把，它只有一个点。So if you look at this, the character on the right, it means hair. The thing on top is pronounced biao, and the thing on the bottom is pronounced ba. That's the phonetic. That's the dog on a leash I just told you about. Notice the bottom part.
Yes.
Question?
No.
No. Notice the bottom
just-
part.
Yes.
It looks almost like the simplified character, but not quite. It only has one dot on top. The simplified character has two dots on top. So that's a phonetic. It's pronounced ba, but it makes the character pronounced fa, like tofa. Tofa means head hair or hair. On the left, we have the character we just described, fa zai de fa, or fa jian de fa. In the middle of that character, you can see the 2 feet on top, the bow, and the shu, the hand that's shooting the bow. So both of these characters were pronounced fa, and they decided to make them into one simplified character that took a lot of study to see how it got simplified. So take a look and study these 3 characters, and does anybody have any questions? 你们可以看这3个字一下，有没有人有问题？没有问题吗？大家都知道吗？如果就给你一个考试，你们都可以考好吗？好。
不一定，老师。
这个我看讲述。我回来。你可以看这个字，这个
可以。
这个是表，这个也是头发。周边的那个东西是枪或是章。我们也准备那个字。
我准备了。
你准备了？
对。
这个不容易做一堂课，要准备很多的东西。
这个是吧？
对。这边你可以看表有2个部分，一个是江。如果我们看这个江的古代汉字，也可以看是一个人，他有长头发。然后山，它也是代表头发。如果你加跟八在一起的一个表一个八，这是头发的发，你可以学这个一下。然后你可以看那个上面的发，头发的发，有3个字，一个是现在的简体字的发，一个是那个头发的发下面的八，那中间的那个是一个头发的一体字，下面有一个有跟八跟发，它们3个字很像，很容易搞错了。So if you look at the fa in the upper right-hand corner, you see the biao on top, and you see 2 variants. One variant has a ba on the bottom that has a dot, and the other variant has a yo, which means friend, 朋友的友. So you can see how even the traditional characters, they get mutilated. And what you see is not always what it's supposed to be. But it's close enough. If someone tells you, then you can understand. 所以你可以看那个，可以详详细细的看那个头发的发，右边的下面有一个八，中间的下面有一个朋友的友，然后那个简体字，他们用 一个发财的发的简化字，因为它们的逻辑是头发的发跟发财的发，它们的读音一样。还有下面有一个标音符号，也是跟发射、跟发站、跟发财也是很像。So their logic when they made the hair into the development or the shooting the arrow, their logic was that the two characters were pronounced the same, fa. And also on the bottom of the hair character, there was a phonetic that looked very similar to the fa side of fa, to the character for shoot. Anybody have any questions? Discussion.
No.
Everybody ready for a test? No? Maybe later. Okay, so every Chinese character, every simplified character, every traditional character has a story like this. So I'm trying to give you a few stories that are a little complicated, but later you can look at the character and every part has a meaning.
老师，
Yeah.
零汉字有一个故事没有？零 zero the character for zero.
For zero, Ling, yes.
Zero. Yes. How do they get to that form?
Okay, there's a character called Mingning de Ling.
他说是零
zero
zero
Yeah,
zero
Zero.
那个是有一个
number a number
Yeah, number 零。
零 zero
但是写哦，把这个给我，你用黑板写，对对对。啊，这笔在这里，对对对。OK，好了，8秒了。
Let me bring the character up. Sure. 哪一个零？
这个零，这个零。
对。Okay, there's a character Ling Yu, which means drizzling rain. Okay, I'll try to write this character. There's a word Ling Yu, which means drizzling rain. Yu means rain. Ling, that character you see, is means drizzling. So the character looks like this.
Yes.
On the top, you see rain, and that should be clear. That should be clear how that comes out. 你们大概大家都知道下雨的雨。令在下面是什么意思？
Hold.
那个是
Lang.
那个是啊？
Hold. Lang.
那个是一个冷我现在说令。
对。
下面是这样子写。
令，
哦，
那个是令。
对，那个是什么令？有没有人知道？
命令，
命令的令，这个命令的令跟命令有什么关系？这个是一个简体字，然后这个是一个简体字，它的繁体字我写的不漂亮，不够漂亮。这个周边是一个简体字，他们简化这个汉字，他们是莫名其妙的，他们把那个下面的东西变成二变，这个是转体字，不是，这个是繁体字，这个是繁体字。对，然后你教到好，
行，
所以如果看转体字，我们可以看这个，
Okay.
这个是一个转体字，你可以问你自己这个是什么东西？这个是哪一个令？这个是哪一个令？你刚刚说的，这个是哪一个令？ Which ling is this? This is zero ling. This is 淋雨的淋 for drizzling rain and also for zero. 这个是什么令？
命令的令，
对，命令的令。所以这个是命令的令，这个是命令的令，这个跟命令有什么关系？如果我们看经文，我们可以看更久的一个字，我们可以看，如果所有的地方，如果你看这个符号，这个是一个跪下来一个人，所以这个人跪下来一个人，所以这个是命令的令，可是跟命令有什么关系？如果我们看最早的甲骨文，最早的象形文字，我们看这个，
Oh God.
所以这个是命令的令，命令的令。这个下面是什么东西？ This is the命令。I should go back and say this in English. This character has a rain on top and a phonetic ling on the bottom. The character originally meant drizzling rain,
Yeah.
but it also means zero because it's pronounced the same. So the rain, everybody knows. Ling, this is mingling, means to be ordered or to order someone. This is the tradition. This is a simplified character. This is the traditional character. This is the seal character. This is an earlier character. And this is the earliest form. It's a little distorted from the actual form, but I want to make it clear. So 这个是命令的令，一个人在跪下来， A man is kneeling on the bottom taking orders. What is it on top?
让他们猜一下。
What is on top? 有没有人想知道？这个是什么字？有没有人知道？
没有。
是水。
对，这个字。口，嘴巴，对。所以这个是一个倒口。An upside down mouth. This is a mouth. This is an upside down mouth. So the upside down mouth is 它给下面的人一个命令。这个倒口是给下面的一个人一个命令。所以这个是命令的令的逻辑。下面的倒口是命令下面的跪下来一个人。这个跪下来的人。这个读接，这个读接。Okay. Any questions? 有没有问题？
谢谢老师，我没有。
没有哈。
挺好。该休息了。
休息。现在。好像现在是休息的时间，我们可以休息10分钟，然后回来。好，
谢谢。
好，老师。
Okay, I'm back. 你们可以看你们的视频。可以开视频。很好。来，在这边。
对。确认录像，确认录像。然后你把鼠标拿到这个地方来，关掉这个，关掉这个对，然后打开这个。第二个人。第二个，对。应该全屏，全屏。
The form of a person can represent many things. If the person has arms spread wide, it can represent big. If he's in a fighting position, it can represent resistance. If he is spitting, it can represent the sound of spitting. The form of a person can represent many things. If the person has arms spread wide, it can represent big. If he's in a fighting position, it can represent resistance. If he is spitting, it can represent the sound of spitting. The following are characters that are derived from a full pictograph of a person. In another section, I have characters derived from various body parts, such as hands, feet, eyes, etc. Ren is the standalone form of person. It is derived from a person facing left, with his arms out. Ren is the way it usually appears in a character. In ancient times, it did not seem to matter if the person was facing right or left, but in character context, all the persons facing right became written as B. Is in most cases derived from the same character as Ren. In its standalone form, it is the simplified version of which means son. It appears as a part of many characters, usually at the bottom. Means a boy child. From person and the top part is a child with his hands held up, wanting to be picked up. It is not, as Shu Shen says, the immature skull of a newborn child. There's a simplification rule, A059. Originally, these two characters were pronounced the same and had similar meaning. Ren is not an independent character, but it is found as a component in quite a few other characters. It is usually a modification of person ren. In some characters like fish, it can come from other things, such as the mouth of the fish. It is very similar to another component, dao, which comes from a knife. Note the differences. Wei means dangerous. It is a man on a cliff, and it can be interpreted as dangerous. Wei means dangerous, from a person kneeling, jie,
Ini mama pelajaran
and
dia harus
related
buka
phonetic
kamera,
cliff.
nggak bisa.
Danger, wei.
Mata nggak
Wei
Yeah.
means to cheat, from speak, yen, and related phonetic, person
Dia
on a
tuh
cliff.
kodok, Mas.
Wei.
Atau itu kalau orang dewasa.
If you think about it, you should see the relationship. Jan means
Dia beli
verbose,
Afrika.
from speak, yen, and separation.
你可以关掉你的
And person on
microphone.
a cliff, wei.
Turn
It
off the
indicates
microphone.
that speaking too much may be dangerous. Fu means debt, from a person on top, ren, and a cowrie, bei, on the bottom. This can be interpreted as a person who owes money. Dan means to carry, from a hand on the left, shou, and phonetic, talk too much, jan. It is subject to simplification rule A042, dan, which substitutes jan with the phonetic sunrise, dan. You can see here that jan is probably just a phonetic. It has changed its pronunciation over the years and is no longer pronounced like jan, but it once was. Substituting dan makes it more understandable because dan is closer to the modern pronunciation. Fu dan means burden. If you analyze the two characters, you can see that it is a debt that a person must carry. So we must think about language. A debt is something you can carry. The English word debt and the word carry are related in English and in Chinese. It may not be true that they are related in every language. Think about it. In almost all cases, if you see ren on the top, it is from a person. The ancient form for knife also looks similar to a person, except the handle is curved back. Note the difference between ren and dao. Se, or shai, means color, and it also means sexual, from a person on top, ren, and the remnant ba, from a person kneeling, jia. In a seal character, it looks like a person on top and a person on the bottom. In the bronze character, the person is changed to a hand, and it is touching the other person in a particular place. This is probably the sexual origin of the word. Earlier uses of the character indicate looks of a person, in particular a beautiful woman. This may be the origin of both the color meaning and the sexual meaning. Se lang means sex wolf, or someone who lusts after women. Yan se means color. Yan means voluptuous or beautiful, from color se and drum, feng. It is subject to variant elimination rule C673 and the simplification rule B032. Mei Yan means glamorous. Jue means to cut. From a single thread, mi, and the remnant, ba, and from a person kneeling, jie, and knife, dao, and not from ren. It is not the character se. The logic here is that the kneeling person has a knife and is cutting the string or cloth. That indicates that the kneeling person may actually be a phonetic. Note, as we go back in time, the position and shape of the components may change. Jue is the same character with the same components. Note the knife and threads. the dao, knife, becomes ren in the simplified character. This is not an accident. It is one of the rules of the new form, old form characters. 心ju zixing. Jueyu means to cut reproduction, or, in other words, to sterilize. Wang means king. The bronze characters for king often have a curved bottom, and the oracle character is very similar to the character for Li. Most people think it is an axe head, indicating a symbol of authority. This idea probably comes from an analysis of character for father, Fu. The curved bottom you see in the bronze character is a style form, which can be seen in several other characters and is probably not representational of an axe. The actual character comes from a modification of da, a person standing on the ground, indicating a big or important man. In fact, in ancient times, the king was considered to be the son of heaven, Tianzi. So you see a man standing on the ground under heaven. Okay. 有没有问题？你们都看得懂吗？看得明白？不明白？有问题吗？
没有。
没有。你
但
都真的？
是我觉得两个讲是对的。
两个讲是对的。
one
Seriously.
yes.
Oh.
Both explanation can be right for the one, the
Oh,
character
yes.
one.
You are right. There are many characters, they get copied over the years, over thousands of years. The originator of the character may have had one thing in mind, but the person who copies the character may have another thing in mind. And so actually two people may be right. And it's possible in the character Wang that some people who wrote it thought that it was an axe, and other people who wrote it thought that it was a person between heaven and earth. And so there are some characters that I can prove that this happened. They get changed because people don't copy them correctly, but they have a whole new logic. 我想你是对的。有一个字的解释可能有两个对的解释。原来的发明那个字的人，他可能有一个意见，可是第二个、第三个、第十个、第100个人写那个字，他可能写错了，可是他可能有他的意见，所以你不能说一个对的，一个错了。这个是我们分析汉字也要考虑这个问题。Any other comments?
你要看 R 是吗？我有。
好。
我有。你跟大家说一下好吗？
我的助理他是设计视频，他可以叫那个字比较快。
这个吗？
这个都在那个字都在一起的，这个。好，你在这边你可以看一个儿，转体字有这个儿，上面的儿是这个字已经存在好2000年，这个就是一个人的 异体字，你可以看那个转体字，有不同的地方、不同的时间，转体字也有不一样的。有一个转体字1、2、3，儿童的儿，这是小孩子那个第二个字。你可以看它的转体字是什么样的，然后它的经文是什么样子。书生他写了说文解字，他以为那个上面的东西是一个婴儿的头，那个骨头，一个婴儿刚出生的，他的头的骨头还没有，就是裂开来了，还没有连在一起的。我觉得这个是非常荒谬的。书生
The third one looks like a pregnant lady.
pregnant lady. Oh, yes. Yes. The seal characters, okay, I'll say it in English. The top one is and it's been around for a couple of thousand years. It basically means a person. The seal characters were also artistic. They were highly advanced. Chinese characters had been around for at least 2,000 years by the time the seal characters came. So they had people, artists, who gave their own interpretation. So yes, it looks like a pregnant woman or a fat man. The second character means child, boy child. And Xu Shen says the top part is the head of a child. When a child is born, its skull is not yet fully formed. I think that's ridiculous. But if you've ever had a child, or you've probably seen some children, they always want to be picked up. So they'll put their hands up in the air and want you to pick them up. So I think that's a picture of a child with its hands in the air wanting to be picked up. 有没有人有意见或是想法？大家都看得懂吗？大家都同意吗？
看得懂老师，谢谢。
好，
要讲那个。
这个
Can you show it again? I want to make a picture of that one.
Oh, you
The
want to make a
R.
picture?
Yes.
我发过去了，我发过去。
Oh, we'll send it to you.
谢谢。
Yeah.
I think it's look like a reindeer head.
What hat? A ranger's
It's like
hat?
a reindeer head.
Oh, yes. We can imagine many things. And very few Chinese characters are perfect pictures. So we have to try to think what the ancient Chinese were doing. Do I hear a question?
No.
Okay. Let's see. What are some? Oh, sure.
色吗
Yeah.
？OK。哎，
So are there any so-longs out there? Are there are any of you so-longs?
So,
Okay. The picture of the character "se." We have a ren on top and a ba on the bottom. And if we see the seal character, we see a jia on the bottom. That's different from a ba. Remember, I discussed jia, which is part of命令的令。那个命令的令的下面有这个符号。这个命令的令的下面就是jia，不是一个ba。色浪的色下面是一个jia，不是一个ba。可是ba跟jia它们是很像，它们有关系。专体字你可以看一个人在另外一个人的上面，这个很难说跟颜色有什么关系，或是跟色浪有什么关系。This character has two meanings. It means color, and it also means someone who lusts after women, someone who is sexually active. Except it also has the meaning of beautiful, and I'll show you how that comes about in a minute. 如果我们看经文，经文是旧代的词，那个上面的人变成一个手，右边的那个东西也是一个接，也是一个跪下来一个人，所以一个手摸了一个跪下来一个人，这个跪下来一个人可能是一个女人，她的本来的意思是一个很漂亮的一个女的，所以我们现在有两个字，一个是色狼，in English, the person on top got changed to a hand as we go back to the bronze characters. The bronze characters were during the Zhou dynasty. Shu was also a dynasty, and you see a character there. So the hand is probably touching the person below. That's probably where it got its sexual connotation. In modern Chinese, we have a word "selang," which translates as, you can translate it as a sex wolf or colored wolf, but it actually means a sex wolf. It's someone who lusts after women. There's another character, yan se, which means color. So you see it has these two meanings. 颜色是颜色的意思。我们看那个，
看哪个？
颜，这个颜。
耶，好。哇，稍等啊，稍等。
So this yen is usually part of a girl's name. And you see in the right-hand side, you have a se. That doesn't mean that the girl is a sex fiend. It means that the girl is beautiful. In the traditional character, you have a feng on the side, which indicates, in ancient times, it indicated prosperity. 所以你看这个字，这个燕，这个是一个漂亮的女的，很多的女人有这个名字，这个是代表一个女人的，这是一个常用的女人的名字。在右边是一个颜色的色，颜色的色，也是色狼的色。可是在这边不是颜色，也不是色狼，这个是一个漂亮的女的。原来的意思就是漂亮的女的。我们有那个简化汉字的一个规矩，673， there's a simplification rule, actually it's a variant elimination rule, C673, and a simplification rule, B032. That's how it comes to be written in simplified form. We have the word 美艳, which means glamorous, beautiful and sexy, glamorous. Okay, 现在句. Any question? Before we go on, any questions here? 有没有问题？有没有人听到？ OK， 你们好。
绝。这个吧，是吧？
So, if you see a 色 anywhere, almost anywhere, it means something. 如果你所有的地方看一个色，可能是一个标音符号或是标义符号，可是这个字是不一样的。这个字读绝。如果你看那个专体字，
像结婚的结。
No. This means to cut. This is 绝 and 结婚 is 结. So this word means to cut. 这个是剪掉的意思。所以如果你看下面的，你看那个跪下来一个人，那个读结，上面是一个刀，然后左边是一个咪是一个弦字。On the left, you can see a string. A string is something you can cut. The red part is a knife, and the blue part is a man kneeling. So, 如果你看那个繁体字，你可以看上面是一个刀，下面是一个八，八跟结是差不多一样，有的时候是一样，有的时候不一样。然后左边是有一个咪，这是一个弦字，那个人用刀剪那个弦字。So on the traditional character, you can still see the logic. There's a man with a knife cutting some thread. 绝 means to cut or to cut out. But when they simplified it, they made a mistake. They changed it to a s and a mi. So that's a mistake. The 简体字, the simplified form is actually a mistake. But we have this word means to cut. We have a word 绝育, which means to cut out the ability to make life or to sterilize. 我有3只狗，3只猫，不要再生孩子，所以我要带他们去绝育。I have 3 cats and 3 dogs, so I don't want any more. So I have to go 绝育 or sterilize or cut out the ability to reproduce.
是哪个？
这个你们有没有？这个有没有问题？
没有。
没有，大家都明白。这个也是杜鹃，那个红色的，你可以看是一个刀子。那个有4个线子，那个是剪一个布。 This is the same character. It has the same components. You have the red part is a knife, but you see 4 strings there, which represent a textile, or so you can cut the cloth. You have a knife and it's cutting cloth. And we have the word 绝育. 绝育 means to cut out the uterus, or cut out the ability to reproduce, to sterilize.
是王对吧？
Any questions?
没有。
没有，大家都很明白。Nobody has any questions?
老师，那个追鱼和绝为什么不一样的？The picture 照片画为什么？
绝育，给他们看绝育。他看这个也是绝吗？
问这个东西，这是一个字吗？
我不知道，这个是
月字旁加个四。
对
月字旁。
对。
等一会儿。月字旁的也读绝。We're looking it up.
你可以先给他们看绝育那个。
The usual word for 绝 has a me on the side. You ask about a 绝 with a row on the side, right?
上面的
Somebody
绝呀，绝和这个绝育和第二只绝，别的绝。
有一个他说什么？有一个月字旁吗？
不是，我也没听清。
你再问一次。你再说一次。Ask the question
这个
again.
这个绝上面是不一样，跟一间的绝。
上面的。
这个，这个绝，哎，为什么不一样？
Oh, I'm glad. Yes. 那个如果你问那个月字旁的绝，这个是跟肉有关系的，可是那个是一个右边的是一个标音符号，一个切掉的标音符号，大概。对。也不是。我可以明天跟你说明一个月字旁的。
是刚才我问的那个月字旁的那个
那个读什么丝？翠啊。那个我要研究一下，那个可能旁边是一个标音符号。
好的，老师。好的，老师。好的，谢谢老师。
好。
他讲完吗？讲完了吗？
Okay. Let's see. Anybody want to add anything or discuss anything? Any words? Any new words? New characters? Can you think of any other characters that have a ren on top and a ren on the side? 你可以写在纸上给我看。如果要问我一个，你可以写那个字在纸上给我看。有没有人要说话？没有问题吗？现在几点
？9点29分。
So 还有10分钟。Well, you got 10 minutes to ask questions. Otherwise, I'll show you the Wang. Get the card Wang. So this is Wang. There are actually 4 characters that look very similar to Wang. 如果你看一个周边的王字旁，很多的人说是王字旁，这个王是一个玉字旁。如果你看一个王在周边，确定是一个石头，一个玉 jade. There are 4 characters that look very, very similar to Wang, king, but they're from 4 different sources. I will maybe do a video on that sometime in the future. If you see a Wang on the side of any character, it doesn't have anything to do with king. It has to do with jade. Because jade is a character that was written very similar to Wang. And 很多的人，如果你看那个王字旁，他们说一个王字旁，可是应该说是玉字旁。有两个别的汉字，有人也有听。以后我跟你说明。可是现在说王，这个王。The modern king, 3 lines, 1 line in the middle. The seal character, the line is a little bit above center. And the oracle characters, there's more than one type of oracle characters. Some oracle characters have the sky and some don't. 有的甲骨文有天上的那一横，有的没有。不管有天上的那一横或是没有，还是可以理解是天人地。经文有的时候下面的那个泥土的部分是一个圆圆的。When we look at the bronze characters, we often see the bottom part is curved. But there are other characters like Li and other characters where somebody is standing on the ground and the ground is usually curved in the bronze characters. Some people think it's an axe. But because other characters are also curved like an axe, I don't think it's an axe. But it also could be that some people at different times, they imagined different meanings. So for some people, it could have meant an X, and for some people, it could have meant the Son of Heaven. Any questions? 有没有问题？没有问题。
是
我们有几分钟？你觉得今天你有没有学了什么新的？So, will you be able to answer the questions on the test? No, yes?
什么问题？
没问题。
什么问题？
Oh, if I test you on the characters, 如果我给你一个考试，这些今天的汉字都理解吗？
我觉得我理解。
给我们什么样的问题了？
很好，很好。我听一个人说，我觉得我理解，然后大家都笑，很好，
希望我们可以理解。
很好。有没有别的问题，或是有没有什么意见？有没有人要说话？
老师，在玩 playing is it in front of 在前面是玩吗
Mr.
？one
Mr.
one
One
playing
play
王字旁的王，
王字旁的王。
王字旁的 ，yeah，王字旁的，
这个不是那个玉吧？
这个
这是什么？
圆，这个我要猜一猜，可是应该是一个玉字旁。如果你看一个王字旁的，我不会确定100%是对，这个是一个王字旁，对，这个是一个王字旁，一个玉字旁，这个是一个玉字旁，对，一个玉。
哦，是用来玩。
对，我们看，我们看这个，然后你看那个旁边的这个三横都是平衡的，所以你可以确定这个是一个鱼。壮体字的鱼，他们没有那个点；繁体字的鱼，他们加的那个点是为了要说明的。我可以在这边写。如果你看一个壮体字，如果你看这样子，这个三横是平衡的，这个可以确定是一个玉字旁。如果壮体字，你看这样子，这个可以确定是一个王。所以我们刚刚看那个说文解字，我们可以看，你给我看那个。所以我们看这个，
不是，是在这个地方。
我们看三横是平衡的，所以我们可以确定是玉字旁。 按照我的理解，左边的王字旁应该差不多100%，可能确定是玉字旁。后来他们变成繁体字，因为很多的人看不清楚。
我有一个问题，中国的国有
等一会儿
碗，
等一会儿，所以这个是繁体字，王玉，他们后来加一个玉。好，
说中国的国，中国的国汉字里面有个玉是吧？
对，这个中国的你说简体字的国，
太阳，
是这样子，对不对？
对对对对
加个点儿。
对吗？
对对对
对吗？
对，
这个我对不对？这个是中国的国吗？啊，
不对，不
不对
对，
不对不对不对
好了，
不对
这个是
不对，
是错的。
这个是
少了一个点，
you has to be 1 point， you 是 you 不是王。
这个对不对？
那
现在
对的，
对，现在对，
这个字对不对？这个字是日本的国，日本有国王，这个也是一个100年以前的繁体字。这个是日本的国，日本有国王，中国没有国王。有一个故事，他们说周恩来，你们都知道周恩来吗？
不知道
不知道。
不知道，
周恩来是一个50年以前的、100年以前的那个一个很有名的共产党。有一个故事说，我们中国没有国王，我们一定，可是我们中国有很多的财产，所以要变成鱼。There's a story. It's probably
明白
not. Okay, this is the Japanese character for a country.
不是
It's a wall that has a king. It's also a variant character in traditional Chinese. But there's a story about a guy named Zhou Enlai who probably died before you were born. He said, China does not have a king, but China is very rich. So we'll put some jade in here. So that's a story. Probably not true, but it's a story.
现在我
好
明白，谢谢。
Yeah.
他好像是个日本人。
啊，
是个日本人。
有没有别的问题？有没有别人有说话？还有几分钟
42了。
现在42。
对，
好。
第11次了。
So 有没有人要讲话？这个故事，那这个是本来那个普通的繁体字是这样子写，一个普通的繁体字是这样子过。那它的来源是比较复杂一点，在这边没有写清楚。 基本接不到，写不进去。
下次讲吧。
下一次我可以跟你说国的渐渐的来源。Any comments? In the chat group, you can send me characters if you want me to talk about them. And I will
老
tell
师
you,
好，
I will tell you the stories of the characters.
不好意思，老师，请问一下书那个繁体字，还有它的简体字为什么差这么多？可不可以给大家解释一下书的这个字的来源？谢谢。
这个是书的简体字。我想下一次我可以准备，因为有新书、草书，还有现在的简体字不是第一次有简化汉字，原来的这个书的字，原来的甲骨文，对，这个是原来的繁体字。你可以看这个繁体字跟你看普通的说的繁体字不一样，所以这个故事比较长一点。我下一次我可以准备几个演变，然后我告诉你那个在唐代的时候，他们也有一个从汉代的时候到汉代的繁体字到现在的繁体字。他们有几次的演变，我下一次我可以好好的给你再次的说明。
好的，谢谢老师。
这个树这个字它的故事很有意思，我们下一次说这个。所以也许下一次我准备2个视频，然后我讲女跟老跟孩子的字，可是我也可以回答你的问题。下一次我给你慢慢看那个书的来源。有的你们都知道新书是什么？草书是什么？When you learn Chinese, you learn the printed form of Chinese, one stroke at a time. But when you write quickly, the strokes flow together. That's called cursive Chinese or Xingshu. There are ways to write very quickly, but you have to learn the rules, learn the simplification. Otherwise, you can't recognize it. And that's called, what I call it, super cursive or 草书。小孩子他们会学那个印刷品、印刷术，这个是一笔画一笔画。可是他们写信，他们会写得很快。写信的是变成信书。那如果你认真的看，你应该会看得懂。可是草书是完全，信书你看不懂，我也有的时候看不懂。可是草书是特别早，草书是他们有很多的规矩，如果你不知道那个规矩，你完全看不懂。The cursive 新书 you can kind of figure it out if you look hard, but the 草书 the super cursive there's a bunch of rules that you can learn 草书, but if you don't know the rules, it will be almost impossible to read. In fact, it will be impossible. I will discuss some 草书in the class, but not much. 有没有别的问题？我是说话。
没有。
好，大概今天就结束了。如果你有问题，如果你要说明一个汉字，你可以